No one is coming to save you, inspired by Muniba Mazari. Good morning, beautiful souls. Today, I want to tell you something that might sound harsh at first, but I promise it's the most powerful truth you'll ever hear. No one is coming to save you. Not your family, not your friends, not your spouse, not your boss, not even God will do for you what you are supposed to do for yourself. And this isn't meant to make you feel alone. This is meant to wake you up. Because the moment you accept this truth is the moment you take your power back. Waiting is a silent killer. For years, I waited. I waited for the pain to stop. I waited for the storm to pass. I waited for someone, anyone, to notice the silent screams I hid behind my smiles. I waited for a knock on the door, a phone call, a miracle. I waited for someone to pull me out of the darkness that had quietly wrapped itself around my soul. I waited for an apology that never came. I waited for justice, for answers, for closure, for help, but nothing came. And while I waited, something inside me began to wither. Because waiting is not passive. It is not stillness. It is slow death, a slow erosion of hope, self-belief, and strength. Waiting seems innocent. It seems like patience, but it's a lie we tell ourselves when we are afraid to move forward. The truth is, waiting can become a prison. And worse, it can become a habit. The longer you wait, the more comfortable you become in your suffering. You start to decorate your prison walls, normalize your pain, and call it home. I remember the day everything changed for me. One moment I was in a car, and the next, I was surrounded by the sound of crushing metal and silence. The crash didn't just break my bones, it shattered my identity. My spine was fractured, my body paralyzed, my dreams suspended mid-air like dust in a collapsing room. And once again, I waited. I waited for healing, for the doctors to give me good news, for someone to look into my eyes and say, "You'll be okay, and I'll walk this path with you." But days turned into weeks, weeks into months. And what I saw instead was the harsh reality. People moved on. They didn't mean to hurt me. Life just moved. But my life didn't. I was stuck in a hospital bed, paralyzed from the waist down, staring at a ceiling that looked the same every single day. I cried silently. I fought battles no one could see, and deep down, I waited for someone to come and rescue me. And still, nothing came. Not the healing I hoped for, not the emotional support I longed for, not the return of the life I had lost. Then, one night, alone in the hospital room, I hit the lowest point of my life. I was broken, inside and out, and in that darkness, a voice whispered, not from outside, but from within. It said, "No one is coming, but you're still here." And in that quiet, painful moment, I had a realization that would change everything. I was the only one who could save me, not the doctors, not my friends, not my family, not my past, not even time, only me, my will, my spirit, my mind. That's the moment my healing truly began. Because the truth is, no one can fight your battles for you. People can cheer you on, they can love you, but no one can do the work for you. No one can get out of bed for you. No one can choose life for you. No one can drag you out of depression, insecurity, or fear, unless you decide to rise. I stopped waiting for external rescue. I stopped romanticizing suffering, and I started doing small things, minute shifts in mindset, that eventually rewired my soul. I began to focus not on what I had lost, but what I still had. I had my voice, I had my hands, I had my art, and most importantly, I had my mind. And let me tell you, your mind can either be your best friend or your worst enemy. If you sit in suffering long enough, your mind will start convincing you that you deserve it. But the opposite is also true. If you rise even once, even just a little, your mind will begin to believe you are powerful. That night, I made a vow. I would no longer wait. I would fight. I would create. I would rebuild, even if I had to do it from the ruins. Waiting had been my silent killer, but action became my resurrection. Not giant leaps, just consistent steps. Painting with trembling hands, speaking with a quivering voice, facing the world in a wheelchair that once felt like a symbol of loss, but became a symbol of power. You don't need to wait for a life-shattering accident to learn this lesson. Learn it now. Stop waiting for the apology. Stop waiting for perfect timing. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for closure, for peace, for permission. Stop waiting for someone to come and tell you, now is the time. Because now is already here, and you are already enough. The life you want isn't going to fall into your lap. The person you want to become isn't going to show up because you waited long enough. They will appear because you built them day by day, through struggle, through persistence, through conscious effort. I waited for years for someone to show me the way, but the moment I stopped waiting was the moment I became the way. So if you're still waiting today, ask yourself honestly, what am I waiting for that I could be doing for myself? And then take one small step, because one step leads to two. Two steps become movement, and movement becomes transformation. You don't need to be rescued. You don't need a savior. You just need to decide that you're done waiting and ready to live. Life owes you nothing, but you owe yourself everything. Inspired by Muniba Mazari. Many of us walk through life carrying invisible contracts, unspoken agreements we make with the universe, with people, with life itself. We believe that if we're kind, the world will be kind in return. We believe that if we love deeply, that love will be reciprocated. We assume that if we work hard, we'll be rewarded fairly. And somewhere deep down, we even believe that if we suffer silently, someone will notice and come to save us. But here's the truth. Life doesn't sign those contracts. Life is not a business deal. It does not guarantee returns based on effort. It doesn't promise fairness, or justice, or predictability. And that may sound like bad news at first, but I promise you, this realization is actually the greatest gift life will ever give you. You see, I once walked through life with those same silent expectations. I thought, if I stay true to my values, life will go easy on me. I believed that my kindness, my loyalty, my sacrifices would be returned. And for a while, that illusion kept me going, until it broke, until life didn't go easy, until betrayal came from people I trusted, until pain entered without knocking, and everything I thought I was building came crashing down. Lying in that hospital bed, after the accident, unable to move, unable to control anything, I had a lot of time to think. And the thoughts that haunted me the most weren't about the pain, or the loss, or the wheelchair. They were about the injustice. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? I was a good person. Why did life hurt me so deeply? And that's when I came face to face with one of the most powerful truths. Life doesn't owe you anything. Not because you prayed, not because you were kind, not because you followed the rules. Life is not a vending machine where you insert good deeds and out comes a happy ending. It's not a contract with guarantees. It's an experience with infinite unknowns. It is raw, it is real, it is untamed. And once you stop expecting life to be fair, you start living free. Because if life owes you nothing, then you stop waiting for fairness. You stop expecting payback. You stop living in disappointment. And in that space, something powerful emerges. Ownership. You realize that you owe yourself everything. You owe yourself healing. You owe yourself growth. You owe yourself love, discipline, forgiveness, and fire. We spend so much time waiting for others to validate us, to fix what's broken, to finally love us the way we've loved them, to finally see our worth after years of proving ourselves. But listen to me, your worth is not determined by how others treat you. It is determined by how you treat you. Stop waiting for an external force to rescue you. Stop waiting for someone to apologize for hurting you. Stop expecting the world to reward your goodness. And most of all, stop believing that life has wronged you simply because it didn't unfold the way you hoped. Here's the truth. Bad things happen to good people. And sometimes good things happen to people who don't deserve them. Because life is not here to play by our emotional logic. It's here to test us, to teach us, to transform us. What matters is not what life gives you. It's what you do with it. You can let your suffering define you, or you can let it refine you. You can let the pain be your prison, or you can let it be your platform. But either way, the choice is yours, always yours. When I finally let go of the belief that life owed me something, I felt an unfamiliar emotion, freedom. I was no longer tied to expectations. I wasn't living for the applause, the the validation, or the justice I thought I deserved. I was living for me, for my peace, for my growth, for my purpose. And let me tell you, there is no force more powerful than a person who stops asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and starts asking, "What will I create with this?" You owe yourself the courage to move forward. You owe yourself the grace to forgive your past. You owe yourself the strength to love again, even if you've been betrayed. You owe yourself the discipline to rise, even when no one else sees you. Because when you take full responsibility, not for what happened, but for how you respond, you unlock your true power. No one owes you closure. No one owes you understanding. No one owes you support. But you owe yourself everything you've been waiting for. So stop carrying those invisible contracts. Tear them up. Burn them, if you must, and write a new one. One where the only signature that matters is yours. A contract that says, "I am not owed anything, but I owe myself everything." And in this new contract, you don't wait. You build, you learn, you fall, you rise, you become the writer of your story, instead of the victim of its plot. I say this with all the love in my heart. Life will not always be kind, but you can be, to yourself, to others, to your dreams. And that kindness, when rooted in self-responsibility, not expectation, is what makes you unstoppable. So remember this, life owes you nothing, but you owe yourself everything. And that's more than enough. Because you, my dear, are more powerful than anything life throws your way, once you decide to take ownership of your story. Would you like me to expand the next keynote as well? Become the hero you've been waiting for, inspired by Muniba Mazari. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not hopeless. You are simply untrained, undiscovered, unfinished. There is nothing wrong with you. What's wrong is the belief that someone else has to come and fix you. Inside you is strength you haven't met yet. Inside you is a fire you've never unleashed. Inside you is a hero waiting for a chance to rise. But for far too long, we've been taught that salvation lies outside of us. That if we're lost, someone else will find us. That if we're drowning, someone will throw us a rope. That if we're hurting, someone will heal us. So we wait. We wait for love. We wait for understanding. We wait for someone to take our hand and say, "I've got you. I'll fix this." But what happens when no one comes? What happens when you're sitting alone with your fears, your scars, your loneliness, and the phone stays silent? When the help you prayed for doesn't arrive? When the pain doesn't get acknowledged? And your tears fall into silence? What happens then? I'll tell you what happens. You have two choices. You either stay there and let the weight of the world crush you, or you rise and become the hero you've been waiting for. I spent many years of my life waiting, hoping, pleading silently for someone to notice that I was not okay. And then life struck me hard. A car accident shattered my spine. Doctors told me I would never walk again. Everything I thought I was, everything I had planned to be, vanished in one tragic moment. But the physical pain wasn't the worst part. It was the inner emptiness, the feeling of being invisible. People came and went. They offered sympathy. Some even offered help. But deep inside, I was alone. I realized no one, not a single person, could feel the storm inside me. No one could truly understand how it felt to look at your body and not recognize it, to look in the mirror and see a version of yourself that seemed like a stranger, to feel like your identity, your dreams, your future, all of it was buried under broken bones and broken expectations. And yet, something inside me refused to die. A whisper, a spark, a small flickering light. It said, "You don't need a rescuer. You need a resurrection from within." At first I was angry. Why me? I had done nothing to deserve this. I had been kind, loving, responsible. But eventually, I realized something powerful. Heroes are not born from ease. They are forged in fire. And I was in the fire. I had a choice. Stay there and burn, or rise with my own flames. I chose to rise. I chose to become my own hero. With shattered bones, I painted. My hands trembled. My body didn't cooperate the way it used to, but my soul needed expression. So I painted not for the world, but for myself. Every brushstroke was a rebellion against despair. With a paralyzed body, I stood tall in my spirit. I began giving motivational talks, not because I felt whole, but because I wanted to remind others. Wholeness is not about having a perfect life. It's about having the courage to live, despite the brokenness. With a broken heart, I chose to love myself louder than the silence around me. I stopped waiting for people to validate me. I stopped hoping that someone would love me enough to make me feel worthy. Instead, I looked at myself and said, "You are enough, even now, especially now." That was the moment I became my own savior. Not because I stopped needing love, but because I stopped depending on someone else to give me what I could give myself. Becoming your own hero doesn't mean you don't need people. It means you don't need them to complete you. It means you recognize that everything you've been seeking, strength, courage, validation, purpose, is already inside you. But like any hero, you have to train, you have to struggle, you have to bleed a little, you have to fall, you have to rise again. That's the hero's journey, and it begins with a decision to stop waiting. I want to tell you something you may not hear enough. You are stronger than you know. You have survived days you thought would break you. You have endured heartaches that felt unbearable. You have gotten out of bed on days your spirit was crushed. Do you know what that makes you? A fighter, a survivor, a warrior. But now it's time to become something even greater. Your own hero. Heroes don't wait for easy. They build themselves in chaos. Heroes don't pray for rescue. They become the rescue. You don't need a cape. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to take that first step. Start with what you have. Use your voice, even if it trembles. Use your hands, even if they shake. Use your heart, even if it's being broken. Your story is not over. It's just beginning. And maybe, just maybe, the reason life didn't send someone to save you is because it was waiting for you to become the one who would rise. Not just for yourself, but for others. Because once you rise, you become proof that it's possible. You become the light for someone else, still trapped in the dark. You were not born to be rescued. You were born to rise. You were born to fight. You were born to become. And that becoming doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in the moments you feel weakest and still choose to try. So if no one's come yet, if the phone hasn't rung, if the door hasn't opened, if the pain hasn't been healed, then maybe that's your cue, your invitation, your awakening. It's time to become the hero you've been waiting for. Not someday, not when you feel ready, not when the pain is gone. Now, because now is all you have. And you, just as you are all you need. So let me ask you, what would happen if you stopped waiting to be saved and started saving yourself? What would happen if you took your pain and turned it into purpose, your scars and turned them into symbols of strength, your fears and turned them into fuel? This isn't just a motivational quote. This is your call to arms. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not waiting. You are rising. And no matter where you are right now, I promise you, there is a hero inside you, waiting to be unleashed. All you have to do is believe it and begin. Pain is not the end. It's the beginning. There's a beautiful thing about hitting rock bottom. It teaches you what truly matters. It strips away your excuses, your ego, your expectations. Pain is not your punishment. It is your awakening. Every scar you carry is not a shameful reminder of failure. It is a medal. It shows you survived. And now you don't need a savior. You need courage. You need the discipline to show up every day, even when it hurts. You need to believe in yourself, even when no one else does. Because that's what true strength is. Take responsibility. Take back your power. Let me be clear. Taking responsibility is not the same as taking the blame. You may not have caused the pain. You may not have asked for the trauma. You may not deserve what happened to you. But healing, moving forward, changing your life, that's still your responsibility. And when you stop waiting and start creating, you become unstoppable. You become your own light in the dark, your own shoulder to cry on, your own motivator, cheerleader, and leader. This is how you take back your power. 6. The world needs your fight. You see, we weren't meant to be saved. We were meant to rise. The world doesn't need more victims. It needs more warriors, more truth tellers, more people who turned their pain into purpose. I didn't become who I am today because someone saved me. I became Muniba Mazari because I chose to save myself. Every painting I create, every word I speak, every life I touch, it all began with one decision:
to stop waiting and start becoming. You are the one you've been waiting for. So let me ask you, are you still waiting for permission, for validation, for the perfect moment? Because I'm here to tell you, the perfect moment is now. The perfect person is you. And the time to stop surviving and start living is today. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing. Willing to feel the pain. Willing to face the truth. Willing to try again. Your life is your responsibility. Your healing is your responsibility. And your future, it's in your hands. Final words. Rise. Don't wait. So when you feel alone, remember that is not your weakness. That is your wake-up call. When you feel tired of fighting, remember no one is coming, but you are already here. And you, my dear, are enough. You are strong enough to build a new life. You are brave enough to let go of the past. And you are powerful enough to write a future that no one saw coming. Because the truth is, no one is coming to save you. But you don't need a savior. You only need you. Thank you.